Okay, hi everyone. This is Ron McKinney with Potted Photo. We're excited to have Lars Myron of Push Record Academy join us for our latest webinar. Lars is going to be talking to us about how to use video for marketing. It's something I think we can all use. I'm going to be all ears today. And so with that, I'm turning things over to Lars.
Great, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Padada, and everyone here for letting me present. I am going to go ahead and launch.
I'm sorry, Lars, I got to jump in again.
Yeah, go
But
for it.
stay right there with the shared screen. Everybody can just
Yeah.
hear my voice. When you guys have any questions, be sure you pose it in the chat. And by default, the chat goes just to the panelists. And I want you to change it to it says all panelists and attendees. So when you do post a question, everybody else can see it. So there you go. Lars, back to you.
Okay, and can you see this, my PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay, so to get started, I want to do a quick introduction. So Ron introduced me, thank you. My name is Lars Myron, and some of you may recognize me from the photographer meetings on Thursday. Been there a couple times, but also from the conference. So got the chance to come down and film the conference and meet a lot of you and attend a lot of the sessions, which is a lot of fun, and surprise got to work with Jordan and Hudson, which was also a lot of fun, very chaotic. But I'm also an assistant to a wonderful dance photographer, my wife, Megan, who is also at the conference. So I definitely get that aspect of all of your stories as well, sort of the dance photographer mindset. So in 2016, Megan and I started our video production company, Productions. We're based in Seattle, Washington, and we do video production work for small businesses, nonprofits, and we do a lot of performing artists. We do a lot of dance video up here, performance video, all of that. And specifically when it comes to that small business piece, we've worked with a lot of small businesses in a lot of different industries. And I realized that I was having a lot of the same conversations. How do you use video on a budget effectively and not waste a lot of your time? Which I get as a small business owner is a very important consideration. So when we went into quarantine and I had a little extra time on my hands, I came up with this idea to create Push Record Academy as a way for small business owners, entrepreneurs, creators to have some of those same conversations, to learn from the conversations that I had had with small business owners, and to really synthesize and create a way for people to learn how to, one, be strategic with using video for their business, and two, how to actually start creating that video themselves. So I'll talk a little bit more about what Push Record Academy actually is later, but let's go ahead and jump into the topic here, which is how you can use video for your business. So I want to start with story. Now, in my mind, your story is the most important piece of this whole thing. And understanding your specific story is really the first step before you ever start recording anything. So I've tailored this very specifically to dance photography because I know that's who most of you are out there, and because my wife has her own dance photography story. So I want to think about your story in three parts. The first is your background. What happened before you became a dance photographer? Then your motivation. What was that transition into dance photography? And then finally, your passion. Why do you keep doing it? So let's dive into each of them more. So your background. Now, I can imagine that there are probably that most of you is that you're a dancer. That's my wife's background. She grew up in, she went to college for dances in a local dance company. And she was also interested in photography, but the dancing piece was really her core background. I've seen in the group that some of you started off as
Hmm.
I'm
Are you still there, Lars?
hear me.
Can you, the attendees, please respond right now and let me know, number one, you can hear me okay, and number two, I'm presuming you guys are having trouble seeing Lars. Is that correct? Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
lost
gonna,
your video that normally is up on top.
I am going to not show my video as to hopefully lessen the amount of data going over the internet. So as long as you can hear me, we should be good.
Yeah. Yeah. You're back up now.
Okay, and okay, and you can see my screen. Okay,
Yeah, but I
I will
can't
be
see
the,
you, which is interesting. I
yeah,
just see your logo.
that's on purpose. So
Okay.
I'll be just a bodiless voice for now, and then I'll come back at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so your background. So I talked about maybe your background is as a dancer. My wife, that's her background. I know that some of you started off as dance parents, and that became kind of your entryway into the world of dance. And then you kind of picked up the camera and became a dance photographer from that. Or maybe your background is more grounded as a photographer in a different form, a fine art photographer, sports photographer, and dance kind of became an extension of your existing photography background. Maybe you're a mix of all three. And that's kind of a theme here. So next comes your motivation. What was that actual transition into dance photography? Was it a gradual transition? Maybe you did one senior portrait, and the senior was a dancer, and oh, this is kind of cool. Let me see what else I can do in this realm. Maybe you had an opportunity. I think Ron maybe speaks about this, where, maybe I've seen this in the group as a dance parent, and the studio owner says, "Hey, can you photograph our show?" And this sort of opportunity is what really got you into dance photography. And maybe for some of you, the motivation was by accident that you started shooting dance, and you kind of just fell in love with the specific aspects of the art form. So and maybe you have another motivation, maybe you have another story, and on it, obviously that's what makes you unique. So identifying your motivation, and then finally, why do you keep doing it? Is it the beauty of dance? Is it the athleticism, the emotion, the geometry, the power, or the art? I know at the conference that was a big conversation, that this is really about two artists collaborating, and maybe that's what really keeps you going and keeps you passionate. Maybe you can identify with multiple of these things. So thinking about that also and sharing that. So when you combine all of those aspects, you get your story, and you get a story that you can actually start sharing with people. Now, you may have an about section on your website, and that's really great. What we're going to talk about a little bit later is how you actually start sharing your story through video. And I think that this is the most important part. So before I move on, just to reiterate, I really want you to start thinking about your story in terms of your background, your motivation, and your passion. And for those of you that are writers or have learned about storytelling before, you should know that the principle of storytelling is beginning, middle, and end. So here we have the background as the beginning, the motivation as the middle, and the passion as the end. So with your story in mind, a fun fact about the power of storytelling. Cognitive psychologist Jerome Bruner, actually, he did a lot of research on the brain and a lot of research on storytelling. And he actually found that it is more likely that someone remembers a fact. It is 22 times more likely that someone remembers a fact when it is wrapped in a story. So I like to use the example of remembering a fact about a character from your favorite movie. how quickly you can remember that fact because it comes with the context of the story that you love and that you remember so well. So storytelling really is an important piece of this whole video concept. So why use video? Why spend the time to create video? The first reason is that video has an enormous reach on the internet. So as you know, it's all about getting in front of people's eyes and letting them know about you. So I found a very interesting statistic that 1 million minutes of video pass across the internet every 1 second. And this kind of like blew my mind a little bit. But this really talks to the enormous reach and the fact that video really is the core of the internet these days. So that's very important. You want to reach your potential audience, but more so than just reaching them, you want to engage them. And video has been shown to be a great motivator in engagement. And that's not only likes and comments on Facebook or Instagram, but that's actually clicking through to your website or to whatever call to action you have paired with that video. An engagement can also be filling out the contact form on your website to start that first conversation. The third aspect, though, that is so important and why video is so powerful is because of retention. You want people to remember you. You want people to remember the name of your business. You want them to remember your work. And video is shown to be a great multiplier of the retention of a viewer. So it's actually was shown in one study that viewers retained up to 95% of the message when it was delivered in video versus 10% when it was delivered in photo or text. So you can see from that, you can start to kind of extrapolate on that you're really missing out if you're only sharing your messaging through text on your website or through photos. And so this is why video is so important. And this is why adding video, adding that extra layer, adding that extra thing to your to-do list is really going to pay off. And it's going to have a really big return on your investment of time. So I hope I've convinced you that video and storytelling is really important. So now let's kind of dive into being strategic and starting to identify what kinds of videos that you can start producing, start creating, and start sharing to really grow your business. And the first thing we need to think about is what your client wants to know about you. Now, again, I know that every one of your businesses is a little bit different. So we can think about your client as a dancer. Maybe that's a pre-professional or professional dancer or a high school senior, someone who finds you because they're on Instagram or because they're looking for a photographer. Maybe your client is a parent. Maybe you're in the dance studio world or you're doing private sessions for younger dancers. You really need to convince that parent that you are the right fit to take photos of their child. So that could be your client. And also if you do a lot of dance studio photography, performance photography, dance company photography, then you're thinking about your client as that dance studio or that business. But no matter what type of client you're thinking about, and maybe you have all three, I know that Megan, my wife, our business definitely has all three of those clients. But we're really still talking about people, and people want to know who you are, how you work, and your product, or what they're going to get from you. And ultimately, what we're talking about is building trust. So going back to the conference, I remember sitting through a lot of people speaking, some of those great speakers, and talking about building trust with your client, with the dancer in the photo shoot. But you really have the ability through video to start building that trust from the very first moment someone learns about you. And by telling your story, you're actually creating and building that trust along the way. So how can you actually start creating video to speak to these clients' questions. Who are you, how you work, and your product. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say that this third one, most of you are probably already doing pretty well through your Instagram feed and your Facebook feed. By sharing your work, by sharing your stunning images that we all see in the group, you are sharing your product. And I think that you can sort of say that you're covering that piece of it with your photo work. So we can really focus in on these first two when we think about video. I want to take a pause because I'm going to start sharing some actual videos that you can think about starting to create. And I wanted to see if anyone had any questions. You
Do
can
you
go
see Heather's
ahead in
question
the
there?
chat. Let's see. Oh, the chat is hidden. Here we go. Okay. Do you?
So it's Heather that has a question there, Heather Larkin.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. Well, I would definitely start with thinking about the types of video that you can create for any of your clients. And I think that some of these foundational pieces that I can talk that I'll talk about are going to be able to speak to any type of client because like I said, whether they are a dancer or a parent or a dance studio owner, they're all still that same kind of person. And they want to know and they want to trust the photographer that they're going to be working with. So especially when you're starting out and you're adding this extra layer of video, being strategic and efficient with your time is most important. So definitely thinking about the pieces that can speak to all of your clients at once. And then as you start getting more comfortable with it, I'll talk about this a little bit later, and you start using video more and more, then you'll become more comfortable. And then you can start maybe creating videos for just one type of client at a time. So I hope that answers your question. I'm definitely always about being strategic with your time because I know that time is money, time is valuable, and time is limited as a small business owner. So, okay, so coming back here to who you are and how you work and what types of videos that you could actually start creating and start publishing and using to speak to those pieces. So that if someone wonders, who is this person? They have some video to actually watch and access to learn more about you. So the first piece that I would really recommend is a My Story video. Now, this is why we started thinking through your story, but I would recommend that one of the first pieces that you really think through and start creating is a My Story video. Now, this could be just the video version of your About Me page on your website. And you can really get creative with this. You can add in photos, you can add in behind the scenes video, you could add in, if you have photo or video of you as a dancer or photos of you as a dance parent with your kid at recital or things like that. But the foundation is that story and telling that story from beginning to end, that background, that motivation, and that passion, why you keep doing it. So this My Story video could be a really important asset on your website. Once someone clicks in, whether that's on your About page or whether that's on your home page, giving that viewer, that potential client, the ability to click in and hear directly from your mouth why you love to shoot dance photography. But you could actually start a little bit smaller with that idea of starting smaller and starting now. You could share some of these pieces on your socials. So Instagram stories or even Instagram posts, Facebook posts, take that bigger story and break it down and just tell one piece at a time. Talk about your background, talk about your motivation, or talk about your passion and why you love to continue shooting dance. And you might also have some fun facts that you could actually post on your social media today. Maybe if you were a dancer, a professional dancer, you could post a video of your favorite role you ever played or you ever danced. Now this seems like it might be kind of trivial, but someone could really relate to this, especially a dancer. Oh, look, they danced in Swan Lake. That was so cool. So really thinking about breaking this down into fun, bite-sized pieces that don't take a lot of time to put together. That My Story video at the top will potentially take a little more time to think through. Maybe you do want to pull in some assets, some photos, behind the scenes video. Maybe you want to capture some of those and really build kind of a solid, 3-minute video or 3 to 5-minute video, whatever that looks like. That's kind of this foundational piece. But these little pieces are things that you could actually start shooting with your phone and posting today. But remembering that they all work together to tell who you are and to really connect with the person as a human. And now the second piece, how you work. You really want to show the potential client what the experience is going to look like. And this is really in that building trust. If people have an idea of what their experience is going to be, they're going to be more likely to, to say, yes, let's do it. Let's schedule that shoot. So maybe you sit down and create a video walking through what to expect. And now this type of video may differ depending on the type of client you have. But let's say you mainly do individual dancers. And let's say mainly you do studio work. Here's what to expect. You'll walk into the studio. We have a nice dressing room and a sitting area. You'll get all ready. There's a private changing area. And then once you're ready, we'll go into the studio. We'll do different backdrops or different lighting setups. We'll try different poses. And then in the end, this is how the consultation or how you'll be able to receive those files and choose the ones you love. And maybe you even want to talk about how they could prepare to have a successful shoot. That could be a different piece maybe. But ultimately you're really reinforcing the messaging of what should they expect walking into your studio or walking into the first shoot with you. You may also want to shoot some behind the scenes video. Now this could be in the form of a single video. Maybe you want to take a shoot that you have upcoming. Hopefully you all have upcoming shoots. You're getting back to work here, but take your next shoot and reach out to the dancer and say, hey, is it okay if I record some behind the scenes video of our shoot? And put that together in it doesn't have to be that long. Splice together lots of shots from the beginning to the end and give someone an eye of what the experience is like. And some of you, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Heather had asked a question that kind of goes back a little bit, so I didn't want to get too far ahead, but she was asking why 3 to 5 minutes, and
Sure.
she was under the understanding that shorter would be better.
Yes. So here's my philosophy about length of video. It really does depend on the piece that you're trying to create. So these shorter pieces, like let me go back here to this. So the My Story piece versus these story pieces versus fun facts. So my philosophy is that you can create really short, to the point video with things like the story pieces, the fun facts, the little one-off things. And yes, shorter video is going to get you better engagement. And if someone sees that it's a short video, though, they may watch through to the end. But don't be afraid to have a longer video if it's important content. If someone really wants to know about you and you can give them a video that is 3 minutes long, they will watch it. So I really suggest that people think about time, think about length of video, but really you need to think about delivering the message, and whatever it takes to do that, you give the viewer the opportunity to watch that whole video. And the other thing about length of time that I found is really effective, this is more of an intermediate advanced kind of concept, but you could start thinking through this. I've started creating video that's a little bit longer for clients that actually has kind of a mini message in the first minute or minute and a half. So I basically make sure that I'm saying most of the things that I want someone to know in that first minute. And then I'm using the rest of the time to elaborate on that. So you can think about that too. Um, Ultimately, my philosophy is give people good content, interesting information, and there will be people that will watch that 5-minute video if they really want to know more about you before they reach out and engage. I also see here that there's a question about Animoto. I personally do not use Animoto because I use Final Cut Pro to edit video, but I have started looking into tools that you can use on your phone, and Animoto is one of those. I haven't dug into it a lot. One of the tools that I have found that I kind of have fallen in love with a little bit is WeVideo. This is a web-based app. So there is an app for the phone. There's also you can log into it on Chrome. So you can use it on your desktop or on your mobile device, and your account links. So whatever work you do on your mobile device, you can then access on your desktop. But it does mimic more of like a professional video editing software, but it's really dialed down to only have the important pieces. So that really is kind of a tool where you are building video like a video editor, but not as complicated. Whereas Animoto, I think, is a little bit more plug and play. So there's definitely some pros and cons to each of those. And so, yeah, that's what I know about Animoto. I think that length piece is very important. And I know that I get that question a lot. But I do really think that if someone's interested, they'll watch it. But also, as you're starting off, you may only have 2 or 3 videos, but as you go, this is a continual thing. So you can start creating shorter pieces, longer pieces, and it kind of all work together to speak to all types of viewers. Okay, I'm gonna go back to here, how you work. So thinking through some of these pieces to show your potential client. Let's see, I will get to that in a second. Potential client, what the experience is going to be like. And one final little idea for you, these could be kind of that shorter piece. You wouldn't have to edit video a lot. You could do this as an Instagram story, but do a Q&A or a frequently asked question and just share one piece of the client experience. Hey, I get this question a lot. What is it like to be in the studio with me? Well, here's some fun facts. Here's some quick things. Here's a story of a shoot that just happened. And it may come across as you're just sharing one story, but what you're really doing is you're kind of reinforcing and communicating what the experience is like to that potential client. So I'm going to pause again here. So Ron has a question. Oh, Ron has a question for me. Do I have video samples to show? I don't, but what I can do is I can put together a list of a couple links, and we can send that out in the next day or so to everyone with some sample videos. So yes.
Okay.
Great. Yep. So yes, the phone. So I've kind of previewed this a little bit, but I want you to really think about the fact that you can hold in your hand a high quality video making device. So if you have a phone from the last year or two, you have a device that can produce HD video, and some of them of course are better than others, but you really have a tool to start creating video now. I know that you're all photographers, so you probably have one of these things, DSLR or mirrorless camera sitting around. And I have a little note here for you. If this is something that you're comfortable with, if you've taken video on your DSLR before, go ahead and use it. You're gonna create really high quality video. We use a 5D Mark IV for a lot of our business clients and nonprofit and performing clients. They're great tools and they produce really good looking video. But I just want to give you a word of caution here is to not let using your DSLR be a barrier to start creating video. If you have not used video before on these devices, it can be tricky. There's some extra things to learn. There's a lot of moving parts. So I would really recommend that you lean towards the convenience and the ease of using your cell phone to start creating video, to start filming these behind the scenes pieces or these talking head, my story video, what to expect video. You have a powerful tool in your pocket. Go ahead and start using it now. And then as you start to become more comfortable with the concept of creating video, then you can add the layer of using your DSLR or your mirrorless camera to do that. So that's a word on the phone. The phones are really great, and because of tools like WeVideo, Animoto, Canva, you can actually film, edit, and publish these videos all on your phone, and they never have to leave. And you all know from going out on photo shoots that then you take the SD card and you import, and then you organize, and then you import into your software, and then you do your work, and then you export, and then you have to airdrop or share back to your phone so that then you can post to Instagram. Cut out all those steps and just go directly through your phone. Now, one final piece about getting started. I've sort of previewed this concept already, but I really want you to think about starting now. Open your phone and start taking video and posting video. Think about this as starting small. I've presented a lot of concepts. These are just some ideas to kind of get your brain going on how you can use video. But start with those smaller pieces. Don't think that tomorrow you have to sit down and create your My Story video. Create some of those story pieces. Work through how you communicate about your story, how you tell about your background, how you tell about your passion for dance photography by doing Instagram stories and those little pieces. And then that can help inform when you go and you create that bigger My Story video. And I would say to start with the pieces that really are grounded in your story, because you don't have to storyboard or create or script your story. You should know your story, and that's your truth. And so you can just start by sharing your story, being genuine, and you will start really being able to communicate with your potential client through video. Okay, and I have a challenge. Oh, come back. There we go. I have a challenge for you all to do today. This goes through the line of everything that I've talked about. I think that it would be a really great idea for you to go back to your story piece from the beginning. Think about your background, your motivation, and your passion, and do a quick bullet point. You don't have to start scripting this out, but what is your background? What is your motivation? And what is your passion? And those elements create your unique story. And film a little quick introduce yourself and post it on your social media, whether that's on your Instagram story, whether that's an Instagram post, on your Facebook, whatever social media you prefer. If you have TikTok, go ahead and do that. And whatever works best for you. And think of this as that low stakes piece. Don't put too much thought into it. Don't feel like you have to edit it. Just start talking to the camera. I will say that it is not easy to talk to the camera. And for those of you that have done it before, you may be able to relate to that. The only way to kind of get over that trepidation of talking to the camera is to do it more and more. For those of you that were in the Facebook group yesterday and saw my little video to you all, inviting you to attend, I think that took me about 10 minutes to film. I did about 6 takes because I kept messing up and I kept overthinking it, and I kept, saying, oh, I could say that better. And the only way to kind of get over that hurdle is to just keep doing it. And it'll get more and more natural. You'll worry about it less. But just know that you're not alone in maybe feeling a little bit of hesitation about being on camera. So this challenge of doing a quick outline of your story, filming that and posting it today is going to get you to start becoming a little bit more comfortable and open that door for you. So I wanted to pause now and take questions on anything that I've covered, any questions you have about video, about things you've heard about or tried or anything like that. This is kind of my big open Q&A portion. So I will watch the chat and see if you all have any questions for me.
One thing that I'd like to think about is what's the difference between posting to IGTV, I believe, and then the IG story? If I even understand correctly, IG story is a vertical shot, and IGTV might allow it to have horizontal. I'm not even really sure.
Yeah, so IGTV has been developing quickly. So the IGTV, you can actually now post through your phone, which used to be that you could only post on a browser. But if you go in to post a new like Instagram block, and it's a video that's longer than a minute, it'll automatically say, do you want to make this an IGTV video? And those go into that extra bucket. So that allows you to have that longer video that then you can post on your feed. You can also post that IGTV video, a preview of that into your story. So IGTV does support vertical and horizontal video. It just shows up as a little horizontal in the middle of the phone screen, but then you can push the button in the bottom corner of the video and it goes full screen and you can turn your camera. So now you have, a full horizontal video. But from what I've heard, IGTV is a good place to go because Instagram is trying to push that feature a lot. So they're promoting those types of posts. So if you do have video that is longer than a minute, I would recommend posting it to IGTV and then sharing it, in your story. But you have that sort of home base for that video asset. Okay, Heather asks, where in your website would you post these? Over the galleries, on your About Me page, and your information pages? I mean, I think that these are all really good considerations and good places. The thing you have to think about is, I don't know how many of you have ever been shown a marketing funnel or a sales funnel. But basically, you have to think about the different stages at which your potential customer is at when they're in different places. So, for example, most likely they become aware of you somewhere besides your website. So whether that's on social media or personal recommendations, someone says, hey, go check out Ron McKinney photography. Okay. So now they come to your website and you have to start thinking, what information do they want and where? I would recommend posting something like a My Story video or About Me video on your homepage, because when they land, you want to be out in front, and with that smile and that passion, you want to hit them right at the beginning. But some other pieces, maybe more behind the scenes piece, could end up on an information page, or you could create a page that says what to expect. You could put a link to that what to expect video on your gallery page. You just have to start thinking about, when someone is on X page of my website, what can I serve them that will give them a little bit more information, and what information do they need? The other piece, actually, I was talking through this concept to my wife, Megan, is to create kind of that what to expect piece and use that in email. So when someone reaches out to you and fills out your contact me form and they say, hey, I'm really interested in and doing a photo shoot and I just wanted to get some more information, that may be a perfect time to say, oh, great, actually, I have this really, this video where I talk through what to expect and what it's gonna be like. And now they're already interested and you're already talking to them, but you're using this video as kind of an intrigue piece to get them bought in more, so that they respond to that email and say, oh, great, oh, this looks so exciting. Okay, let's schedule that. Let's schedule our photo shoot. So, so that's that question. And then, let's see, oh, question about setting up the camera. So I actually, let me see if I have it. I do. Okay, I'm gonna bring my video back and hope that my internet is, okay, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so you brought up GorillaPod, so I've got one here. This is actually a very useful tool, and your phone just goes in. The nice thing about the GorillaPod is it's very portable. You can set it on a desk, you can set it on a shelf, you can set it on a stack of books to get it to the right height. But the other thing that's really cool about a GorillaPod like this is that you can actually use it as a handle. So now I have a lot better control over my phone, and much more control than just holding my phone like this. Can you all see me?
Yeah, it looks like they're losing you again. I see you, but I don't think they are. To go along with what you're showing right there too, Lars, I have a like a gimbal for my phone, and
Yes.
that works really well. It also has like a mount, so like if I just want to set it up, just like with that Gorilla, thing you have
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
it works really
The other,
well.
the other piece that I happen to have right here is this little tripod. This is called a selfie stick tripod. So it comes with a little mount for your phone. And then it has these telescoping, it's like a little mini light stand. It's got a little 3 feet at the bottom. And actually this product is something that I never knew I needed until I got it. Because the cool thing is, unlike the GorillaPod, you need something to put it on. You need books to prop it up. But this thing you can throw in the middle of your, the middle of your studio, and it comes to about chest height, and you can just start talking to it. So if you're looking for a nice stable shot, selfie stick tripod would be a good product to look into. And they're pretty cheap. Yeah, I think that one was like 15 bucks or something. So let's see, I just want to make sure I got the rest of that question.
Yeah.
Location. Okay. Well, this is a whole topic. So easiest location is outdoor, and that's because of natural light. Natural light is your friend, but you don't always have the convenience of being outdoors, because outdoors can be noisy, could be bad weather, but you can always most likely find a window. So think about that. The other piece about environment is that you want to find an environment that really communicates what you're trying to speak to. So if you want someone to know that you're a dance photographer and that you have a studio space like Ron, I would want at least one of my videos to show me in my studio space, right? Do some cool lighting trick in the background with the backdrop behind me, and so no matter whether the viewer is listening to me, they can see right away that I'm a dance photographer, I have a studio, and they'll be intrigued by that. The blank wall can go wrong quickly. If it can start to look like a hostage video, I would always recommend finding a real environment, whether that's your office space, even your dining room table. Maybe that's kind of a nice way to show more of your personality, who you are. but show yourself in a real space. But if you do have, you know, a studio, you do have a white backdrop or a gray backdrop, that can also be a good option too. Okay, any other questions about video or about what you can start creating? I wanna give you one more piece of information here, which is about Push Record Academy. So like I said, I've taken the last 2 months stuck here in quarantine here in Seattle, where we're very locked down. We're in phase 2, I think, but they want to push us back to phase 1. So we really haven't been able to shoot. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my video just to make sure that I don't drop again. So I've had a lot of time to think and to build this new venture of mine. So I want to tell you a little bit about it. I think it might be something that some of you might be interested in. So Push Record Academy is really 2 pieces. The first is an online course. So I've built a series of video lessons and other resources. It's an 8-lesson course, and it basically takes you through a lot of these things that we talked about, but a lot more. We start with, well, I'll go through that in a second. But the other piece is the creator community. So I'll be hosting weekly live sessions with people that are a part of the community to answer questions, to give more content. And then there's also going to be this forum for people, for business owners to connect, to share advice and tips and success stories and those kinds of things. So that's kind of what Push Record Academy is. The course itself, I wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what the course is, words all of a sudden involve. So we really start diving into the power of video, which I talked a little bit about here, but we dive more into why video is such an important investment of your time. We then talk about strategy, that customer funnel that I briefly touched on. We dive into what that is and how you can create video for your customer, your potential customer at each stage of the funnel. And then we create your video action plan. So this is your actual to-do list of what videos you're going to start creating now in this round to speak to your customer. Then I showed you a little bit of the pieces of my recommended filming kit using your phone and some of these accessories, GorillaPod, ring light, to actually start filming high quality video with your phone. We then do some pre-production work, taking that video action plan and planning out how you're going to actually accomplish and get the shots you need. I then go dive into a lot of these pieces that I kind of talked on about environment, about lighting, about audio, and getting the best shots possible. And then editing. So I talk a little bit about Animoto and Canva, but I also do a deep dive into WeVideo and how you can get started using WeVideo, kind of a pre-professional editing software. And then we talk about publishing your video on Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube and how to get your video onto your website. And then finally, we assess how everything went and think about your next steps for your next round of video and for growing and telling your story in new ways. So that's the course. And like I said, the community piece are these weekly live check-ins with me, and then also the community forum. So along the way, you can connect and share successes and share ideas and ask questions in real time. And together, I call this the Creator Bundle. So this is a 6-month kind of membership to get all the course information and also to be a part of the creator community. The price, I've got a one-time price of $549, but I also have a monthly price of $99 over the 6 months. And this gets you access to all of this. And really what I want to create is I want to create a successful environment for people to learn, but also for people to connect and people to ask questions and people to get the support from myself and also from each other along the way. Because it can be hard, I know, as a small business owner. It can be a little isolating sometimes, which is why the Potted Doug group is so great. That kind of a community. So creating this community and being a part of this community over those first 6 months, I think is really important for success along the way. And excitingly, all of this launches tomorrow. So I'm putting the finishing touches on it all today. And I just wanted to present this opportunity to you as maybe a way for you to kind of dive into using video. So if you're interested in more information, if you want to see some of the videos that I've created to market Push Record Academy, you can do that over on pushrecordacademy.com. So with that, I wanted to give one more opportunity if anybody had any questions or thoughts before we wrap up. I think my overall takeaway here is really, I know that using video can seem like a lot, but I will always just keep coming back to that. Start now, start small, and start with your story, and just start genuinely, and you'll get more and more comfortable, and you'll be able to grow and grow into using video to kind of do and tell your entire story and communicate with your customer.
You know, I think, Lars, 20 years ago, we moved into the digital era. And, you know, sometimes people were a little bit slow about moving into it. It was like something new. And now, you know, really in the last 5 years or so, we've moved into the video era as well, in terms of how easy it is for us to make video and get it out there on social media and on our websites. And I just think that it's you know, for those who are not using, you know, video, it kind of handicaps you against, you know, those who, you know, are using video, because it's so much more, it's just integrating everything, and just becomes more alive, I think, and brings you as a photographer more alive as well.
Definitely. I mean, and we all know that even more so now in the past 3 months when we're all stuck at home, we can't have those face-to-face meetings. Being on video, being on Zoom calls, showing your face is really the key to connecting with people right now. So that's very true. And because of the fact that we can all do it on our phone, you really are setting yourself at a disadvantage by not diving in and just using video, even at that base level of communicating who you are and why you love to do dance photography.
Yeah.
I see one more question here. Does one need a partner to record one's story video, or can one do this alone? You do have the option to use your front-facing camera, and I do this a lot. So I don't need someone else because I can see myself. I can see what it looks like in the screen. But if you do want to use the back camera, or if you have a phone with multiple cameras on the back, you can ask a partner to sit in and watch and make sure that you're staying in frame and that you look good. So some flexibility there.
Okay. Well, thank you very
Great.
much for doing this, Lars. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to getting any updates on Push Record Academy on our Potted private Facebook group.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.